Thanks, Mike. I'm here today with Pastor Bill DeGuire from Working the Streets Niagara. Now, Bill's been doing some amazing work supporting the most vulnerable members of our community, those who are homeless and living outside during the pandemic. Bill, could we start by just talking a little bit about Working the Streets Niagara? Because a lot of our viewers might not have heard about the work you're doing.
Well, Working the Streets Niagara is a nonprofit organization that we decided a long time ago that it was time to train people on how to work with our street family members. I personally have been doing this since 1995, and I started off, we opened a little outreach called the Open Arms of Jesus, and I've been doing it ever since. Um, for me, it's about how we treat our street family members, and that's what we like to call them as our street family.
Bill, what got you interested in this work? Where does your passion come from?
A gentleman, Pastor David Toppins, took me under his wing many, many years ago, and he was such a meek and passionate man about street people that he kind of got me involved in it. And then I went to work for Queen Street Baptist, and I met some amazing people there and their love for our street family, and it evolved from there.
And I've heard you say that people who are living on the streets right now are rough sleeping. I
Yeah.
haven't heard that term before. Can you tell me what is rough sleeping?
Well, rough sleeping is camping, really, and it's just the expression I believe comes from the region or another government organization. When I finally went to work for another organization and got more involved in, let's just say the government side of this, that this is how they classify it as rough sleeping.
Talk to me about a day in the life of Bill from when you get up in the morning to when you go to bed at night. What are you seeing out there on the streets?
Well, okay, when I get up in the morning, generally I should start off. Generally, the night before, I go out with my binoculars and I glass certain areas so that I can see where they are rough sleeping. Then I get up very early in the morning and I go to their camps and I make some noise so they know I'm coming. And most of them know me as Pastor Bill, so that's what I generally announce. And then I go in and I make sure that all their needs are met. One of the first things I like to say is I do try and get them into emergency shelters. That is my goal, and help them transition into housing. So we just don't only give them rough sleeping supplies in the sense of tents and food and stuff like that. We also try and help them get the resources they need. Sometimes they need ID, sometimes they need a Niagara Regional Housing application done. So we do multiple things. And then I generally go back out after dinner. It depends on what time of the year it is. In between, out of the heat and out of the cold, there's no suppers, so we go out a lot more vigorously then. And right now we're going out vigorously too because there's no dinners in between since out of the cold is finished.
Now, I know in addition to the physical health, there must be mental health challenges as well with anxiety and being nervous about the pandemic. What are you seeing on the streets from the street families in terms of their, nervousness, anxiety about COVID-19?
Well, I think it's the same for like everybody, uncertainty. Their routine is broken, and with their routine being broken, they're wandering around, not knowing where to go. So I believe they're just as scared as everybody else.
Are there any ways that the average member of the community can get involved and try to make a difference with these families in need?
But for working the streets in Niagara, what we mostly need here is tents and sleeping bags and rough sleeping supplies. But we also need monetary money to help keeping this place open. The idea of working the streets in Niagara is a training facilities. And right now we can't run training courses and we can't do the teachings that we like to do. So I'm just kind of relying on, my faith to help me keep this place running. But like anything, it takes money to keep this running.
And if someone's watching this video interview and they wanted to help and support you, tell us your contact info. Is it an email, a phone number? How can they connect with you
Well,
to help?
I think my phone number is pretty well everywhere, but yes, it is email. Work in the streets Niagara at mail.com. That's our email address. But we do have a website too, workingthestreets.com, and it's up and running.
Well, thank you for this, Bill. Is there any final message you wanted to share with the community? Well, is it just keeping, our street families in their thoughts and prayers, or is there anything you'd want people to know?
Well, I would like people to know that it's an amazing collaboration of people that we are do have coming together right now. And the region is doing their best to try with housing and stuff like that. But in this equation that we deal with, there will always be rough sleepers, and there will always be people that fall through the cracks. And that's where we come and play. But we want to make sure that when people out there are doing what they're doing right now, that they want to be safe. And so our team, we carry an emergency panic button on us that goes through satellite right to emergency services. So I would like to say to everybody, to be safe out there if you are going out feeding people, and how you approach camps, because the last thing we want to do is push the people farther and farther into the bush. And anybody like to give me a call and would like to talk about the type of training we do here and how they're more than welcome to call.